Guys, I've had several clients asking about introducing their dogs to other dogs and what is safe dog-dog play and how do you start the whole process. So I figured that this was a topic that if I'm having multiple clients reach out and say, what do I do? How should it look? I should probably make a little video and pop it up online so everybody can benefit. So the general rule of thumb for introducing dogs to each other in my world is it has to be off leash. And I know that if we have a little bit of anxiety around this, you might be going, oh my gosh, I don't want my dog off leash. How will I control the situation? But the leash is significantly more likely to cause a problem. The reason that is if either dog's on leash, they are significantly more likely to feel apprehensive, defensive, or even antagonistic because the leash is hindering them. Especially if your dog already has some concerns about barrier stuff. Say your dog has a tendency to bark at other dogs who are running back and forth behind a fence. That's technically a form of barrier arousal. So having the leash on is technically creating a barrier which can make dogs feel significantly more amped up and have a problem. It can also change their body language. If you're pulling back on the leash, then the dog is pulling forward. And so the dog's body language, which should be nice and neutral and soft, is now going forward really intensely. The other dog is going to interpret that as aggressive because that is aggressive body language, point blank. So the leash can inadvertently create aggressive body language, whether or not our dog is pulling forward because they're super amped and excited, or if they were nervous, but now the other dog says, wow, you have really intense body language. You're pulling and lunging at me. And it's because you're back there pulling and lunging on the end of the leash, right? So the first rule of thumb is no leash. I usually have dogs, not usually, I always have dogs meet off leash in a safe area, meaning a fenced in area. So that's, you need lots of space. Having dogs meet in a front door or at the gate, it's a crammed in area and you're going to cause problems by doing this because you're creating a pressure chute. And when the dogs come through, oh, we're going through the door. You need the space to move and get that soft body language you're looking forward. And you need your dogs to be able to get out of the situation. If they're in this tiny little hallway or at the front door or at the gate, everybody's there, there's nowhere to go, so of course we're just going to go up into possibly a fight. So I need a open space that is safe for the dogs to run around off leash. So off leash, fenced in area. Then if I have a multi-dog household, which I currently do, I'm going to introduce one dog at a time. And it is very possible that I will not have the dogs interact together for multiple sessions if I need to. So for instance, Chico's my best player. He's really, really good at reading body language and making good choices and inviting play, but standing up for himself if he needs to. He's my rock star, which is funny because he's a Chihuahua. But he is. So most of the time, I'm going to have Chico meet a dog first. Unless the dog is significantly bigger than him, then I'm going to have to use Hank. The problem with, no, I know, buddy, but most of the time it's you. Yeah. The problem with Hank, and I say problem, it's not a problem, but he comes in real hot. He runs up. And that's not really the best way. If you were like, hi, I'm Claire, and then a stranger ran up to me and was like, hey, I'm Bob, I'd be like, whoa, okay, that's rough. So he sometimes really puts the wrong foot forward. I prefer Chico. Chico's really good about all of that stuff, which is funny because he's such a hot mess in other ways. So I'm going to do one dog at a time. And that one dog is, so Chico's out, I have the other dog. Now here's the most important part besides the first two parts. They're all really important. It's not like you can pick and choose on this. You need to really be consistent if you want this to be successful. So next part is all humans present need to walk. Walk, 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 walk. You cannot be standing still watching, waiting for something to happen. If we're all huddled together watching, we're gonna cause a problem. Our body language says fight, 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 tension. And if you can't modulate your vocal tones and be like, oh, this is great, I'm having a good time, and then, the dogs get together and they're sniffing each other intensely and you're worried, so then you're talking a little bit like this, your dogs are going to hear it and you might cause a problem. So if the owners can't play by the rules that I set, I kick them out. I say, okay, I'll handle this. But of course, if you're in your own home, then you need to get on board. Walking, soft body language, make sure you have lots and lots of movement. So we're moving around, and if the dogs are walking and moving around with you, then you're not going to have a fight, hopefully, because we're all moving and walking and coming in and sniffing and then leaving instead of just clustered together really intensely. When you're like this, it's hard to make good choices and it's hard to have appropriate play. So we're walking and we have the right vocal tones, and we do not favor or interact with any dog. I love Chico dearly. If he runs up to me and is like, "Hey, mom," I don't really say anything with a dog I don't know well. Maybe I'll talk to him if it's with a dog I already have seen play quite a few times, but until I know what that looks like, I don't want to show any kind of favoritism or anything that could possibly evoke jealousy. And they say that dogs don't feel jealousy, and maybe that's not the right word. It might be more like resource guarding. I'm the resource and they don't want that other dog to get me. So I'm not going to talk to my dog. I'm not going to talk to the other dog. They come up and elicit from me. I just keep walking and I ignore them. So you don't want to create jealousy by doing that. So you are just really quiet, keep on going, keep on walking. The worst thing you can do is when the dogs go face to face and they're sniffing each other and doing stuff, is stand still and watch. You're going to cause a fight, probably. Off leash, safe area, walking, soft body language, good tones. One dog at a time. So here's the thing. My dogs are professional workers. I have dogs come and play with us. I have dogs come stay with me regularly. So they know how to not gang up on a new dog. But if your dog doesn't know how to do that, there's Kurt, you need to have your dogs meet other dogs one at a time, because Chico and Sadie are in a gang together. And if Chico or Sadie suddenly said, "You're a problem," the other dog is likely to gang up and chase the first dog. So if you're meeting a dog who has multiple siblings, you only meet one sibling at a time. And I don't mean Bob and then Sally together. Hi, Hank, I'm doing a video, buddy. It's Bob, and then Bob gets put up, and then it's Sally, right? Like, I'm not going to do Bob and Sally together for a while because they can get gang mentality. I'm not going to do Hank and Chico if it's with a dog I don't know very well. Well, with Hank and Chico, I probably would, because I'm a professional dog trainer who has trained my dogs to not gang up, and that's a whole nother thing. So they're going to be, no, Hank, I really am in the middle of a video here, buddy. So I really am going to do them one at a time. And then end it while it's still good. The worst thing you can do is be like, "This is going so great," and let the dogs get really tired and really cranky. You're more likely to have a little bit of a fight if somebody is really, really tired and doesn't want to keep going, but the other dog, like Chico, is ready to keep going. Let's go. So that would also be a question of a poor match. I try really hard if my dogs are going to play with other dogs to make sure it's a good match. Energy should be the same, play style should be the same. So let's very quickly cover what is appropriate play. The general rule of thumbs is it has to be mutual, right? Like if I want to wrestle and Kurt wants to have a tea party, and probably be the other way around, I can't force him to wrestle and he'll have fun. That's not play. I'm not playing. I'm doing a video. That's not play. That's assault, right? So it should be mutual. Both dogs should be into what's happening. Generally, you want to see mutual chase. So I chase you, you chase me, I chase you. If I'm just chasing you, that's not play, that's predatory. Occasionally, you will see dogs who prefer to be the chasee and the chaser. And when they team up, it can be really good. But you need to be really careful with pairings that you don't know. Is this play or is this going too far? Mutual is really what I'm looking for more than anything. If they're wrestling, 4 feet should stay on the floor. And if they're doing like hard wrestling, bumping into each other, slamming into each other, if tit for tat they're doing it and no one's like, taking it too far, while I wouldn't personally play that way, I can't dictate to my rough and tumble boys, like, don't play that way. So it just needs to be mutual. Mismatches is when you see somebody who wants to chase and somebody who wants to wrestle, and the wrestler keeps bombing the chaser, and the chaser keeps trying to get the wrestler to chase. Hey, Kurt, can you get that sound? Thanks. So those are kind of things to think about. And then you should see mutual sniffing of each other, sniffing a spot together. Play should not be constant the whole time. we play a little bit and then I go sniff this tree and you sniff that bush. And then we play a little bit and then we both lay in the shade because it's hot out. Those are all things that you should probably see and play. And here's the other thing about dog-dog dynamics. Sadie doesn't want to play with anybody. She'll play with Chico specifically when she wants, and it's a lot of wrestling with a toy. And when she's behaving well and there are other dogs around, there's nothing going on and it doesn't look like anything. But that's totally fine. If the young puppy doesn't want to play the way Sadie wants to play, which is effectively just sniffing the ground at the same time, them ignoring her and her ignoring them is perfectly fine. You don't have to be best friends to still be cordial and have a good relationship. So those are my general rules. The last thing I will say is if I'm going into a situation that I'm not 100% sure with, I'm going to take a walking stick with me. But again, I'm a professional. I'm really good at soft body language, and I'm only going to use the walking stick to break up a fight. I'm not going to use it ahead of time. So if say a fight, worst case scenario, a fight breaks out, I'm not going to put my hand in the middle of a dog fight. I'm not going to put my body in the middle of a dog fight. So I'm going to grab the walking stick and I'm going to use it between the dogs to get them to back off each other long enough that I can then put leashes on both the dogs and walk them away from each other. So while you're doing this play and the dogs are not on leash, you should certainly have a leash on your person in case you need it. So that's my advice. I hope it's helpful. And of course, if anybody needs extra points, they can definitely contact me and we can set up a Zoom lesson or an in-person lesson. I often do play lessons with my clients and my dogs and say, this is good, see this handicapping, see this mutual, oh, see how he was too rough. And I really point it out. And I've had a lot of people who have done these lessons and really, really enjoyed it. So if that's something you need, please contact me. I would love to help you guys. Have a great Thursday, and I will see you later.